Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hi, Melanie Johnson here with another great podcast for you. I hope you're doing great today. Listen, have you ever wondered about how to get something done for your company or something done for you personally without having to pay for it? Well, we're going to teach you how to do that today. How to get something and not just not pay for it, but elevate your brand, elevate your company, create new strategic partners. So this is like a magical thing. All the light bulbs went off for us. We've been sending it to potential clients like crazy. So we wanted to share this with you. But first of all, we want you to subscribe to our podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share it, because we're always sharing great information, and we want to make your business better, your life better, and your whole surroundings better. So that's our purpose. So make sure you do that. And if you're looking to write a book, my business partner, Jen Foster, and I, we own Elite Online Publishing, and we would love to publish your book. So if you go to our site, eliteonlinepublishing.com, you can go there and hit the contact us button, and there's a submission form there, fill out, and we'd love to see if you qualify for us to be your publisher and make you a #1 best-selling author. So we have Charmaine Hammond here today, everybody. She has written 5 books. She has developed this program on how to get things for your business, to propel your business and not have to pay for it and elevate your brand. So I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but one of the key things that she does is she teaches you how to get sponsors, and strategic partners for your business. It's just killer. When we first heard of her program and got introduced to her, we have been sending it out to people who call us and say, man, I really want to publish my book, but I don't have a budget and I don't know how to do it. And we're like, hey, we're going to send you to Charmaine. She's going to teach you how to do this. And even if you have the budget for doing some of the things you want, how to elevate that and elevate your brand. So Charmaine, welcome. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. I love talking about this.
Well, tell us, how did you transition and start and discover sponsorship for companies?
It started many, many years ago, before I even opened up my business. So I had a job as an executive director of a nonprofit organization, and I learned that most of my role was getting money. So sponsorship, fundraising, grant applications. And I noticed that I was having a lot of success with sponsorship, which, by the way, I knew nothing about in that time. So I was learning as I did this. And a couple of years later, when I moved to a different job, I then became the sponsor, the giver of the money. So I had about a $2.5 million purse that was not my own money, obviously, but I was responsible for making wise decisions on how that money was spent. In terms of sponsorship and funding different programs. So it gave me a completely different perspective of being the sponsor seeker and then being the sponsor and the funding provider. And then years later, I opened my business. I've had my business now for 22 years. I decided that what I loved about sponsorship was that it was all rooted in collaboration. And I chose to run my business that way. So from the day I started 22 years ago, everything I did was in collaboration or in partnership. And then I started weaving in sponsorship into my actual revenue cycle when my first book came out in 2010.
I think that's amazing. So, I mean, from my perspective, a lot of times people are afraid to ask for money, but I love that you work both sides of the fence, because there's people who have money and they need to give it to people. Right. They need to find the best way to go out and do that. So explain how you found someone for your book specifically, and then I want to transcend into other businesses of doing it for other types of businesses.
So you mentioned something really important there, that there are businesses that have money to give. And that's so true. There is billions and billions of dollars available just in North America. That's not even the whole world, available through corporate sponsorship dollars. And sponsorship is a marketing relationship. So when a company gives you money, they're not just sort of giving it to you to go have fun with your book. They're actually looking for some kind of a return on investment. They're looking for your project, your book tour, to help them with some of their marketing goals. So first of all, if you can transition your thoughts to be from asking for a handout to asking to partner together to make a bigger difference in both of your businesses, that's a key shift in how it sort of feels for us. And in sponsorship, with books, for example, there is so much that can be sponsored for an author, such as your your printing of your marketing materials, some of your travel to go to events. I had all of my stand-up retractable banners are all sponsored. So there's many things that you can get sponsored. And the key behind all of this for authors, because we're talking about authors right now, the key behind all of this is to build really powerful relationships with the businesses and brands that you want to bring on board as a partner. It's all about relationships and all about collaboration.
So walk us through step by step. I mean, I may have, a dentist business that I'm going to go to an event for, or, I have a book because that's our business, but I may have, any type of business. How do you start that? How do you start the conversation and get that whole process going? Walk us through that of what you recommend.
So even before you start this conversation, there's some steps. And part of the steps is knowing what you have to offer people. So what is your value? What are you bringing to the table? That's critical because that needs to come out in the conversation. The other piece is what are some of the things that you need sponsored? So what would be great to have sponsored or paid for by another company? And is also a high value fit. And by value, I mean not monetary in this case. I mean that your values are aligned so that you could really energetically talk about this company. So there's a little bit of pre-work that has to happen as you're defining who your market audience is, your target audience, what you have to offer, what you need sponsored, what's possible in the world of collaboration for you. And then as you start to have conversations before you can pick up the phone or, set up a meeting with someone, it's really important to research the brand. Companies get pitched every day. So in the sponsorship department, I just talked to a sponsor recently who said she gets 23 to 42 calls a day.
Wow.
She's one of 12 in the office, by the way, in the sponsorship department. So there's 12 people getting between 20 and 42 calls a day, 23 and 42 calls a day of people asking like money, right? How do you stand out? Right. The number one way you stand out is having researched the sponsor ahead of time by looking at their website, paying attention to their language, looking at what matters to them, follow their social media. And then when you get on the phone with them, you don't make it all about you. So in the first phone conversation, you might even not talk about yourself or your book or your project at all. And these calls that you have with sponsors are generally 20 to 30 minutes for the discovery call. Mm-hmm. So imagine if you spend your whole time talking about you and your book, you've done what all those other 23 to 42 people just did. Whereas if you can come on that phone and say, I'm really interested in learning more about your company. What are the things that matter to you? What are your priorities? What are your marketing goals? How are you working in partnership with other businesses, brands, entrepreneurs, nonprofits? And getting them to share information about how they work and what's important to them, because then you're going to use your amazing listening skills and start to pair up what they're saying and how it aligns with your project. Or maybe it doesn't, and it's been a great call, and then you've determined it's not a great fit, I'll move on to the next one. So that research is critical, and a sponsor will know if you have done your research, and it's very refreshing to them because you've made it about them instead of about you. You will come into the conversation next because they'll inevitably say something like, Melanie, tell me more about what inspired you to call, or how do you see us working together? Or there'll be some kind of a transition for you to talk about you and your project or your book, but it's really important to talk about the sponsor first.
And I think that's important. How do you see us working together? It's not saying, well, my project is great, my company is great, and again, doing that whole me thing. Right. It's what are the benefits for them? So being really cognitive of this is the benefit of my project would offer. I noticed that you said that you're looking for, a podcast and you want to start targeting on that. Well, I'm starting a podcast along with my product, and I think that would be a good fit for us. And here's some of the research that we've done. I think think it's real important. I just want to recap because there was so much good information there that you just said. So make sure that you are making the list of what you have for value, what you can offer in value. Make sure you know what the company has that you're looking for them. Should they also put like a value money monetarily, like, okay, this is worth X amount of dollars. This is worth so much. So you know how much you would charge for that.
Yeah, it is important that's called valuation. So it is important to consider that. But what I highly recommend, highly recommend, is not doing a proposal that has levels like gold, silver, bronze, pink, yellow, blue, any variation of that. And what those are is that's called a tiered proposal that basically says if you give $25,000, here's the 15 things you get. And for bronze, you get, for 10,000, this much. The problem with that, and this is where you can stand out to sponsors, you've sent that without having a relationship. So basically you're saying, hey, you want to give me 25 grand?
Yeah.
Because I rock. That's what you're saying. Instead of something customized that addresses every pain point and need that the sponsor said. So we don't have a generic tiered gold, silver, bronze, or any variation of that. Sponsors don't like it. I was on a call yesterday with a sponsor and she said, do you have something that you could send me about your project? And I said, what would you like to see? And she said, just a little bit more of a summary of who you are and the project you're working on. And I said, we don't have a tiered gold, silver, bronze. And she said, thank God. She said, we don't like those at all. And I said, tell me more about that, because I love hearing from the sponsor's words. And she said, same thing I've heard from every sponsor. And the reason why we don't do it is it's not customized. So if you in your chart show them all the ways you can recognize them, if that doesn't fit into what's important to them or what helps their brand, the money they've given you has very little chance of being sort of helping them with their marketing goals. And a lot of sponsors, when they make decisions, they're looking for a 2 to 3 time return on investment back on their sponsorship. So if a sponsor gave you $5,000 for your book tour, they're looking to get back $10,000 or $15,000 worth of return on investment. That doesn't mean you paying them back, because in sponsorship, that's not what it's about. But they're looking for maybe new clients or extended social media reach or positioning in front of media or clients they could never have reached, but your tour made it possible for them.
So what is the next step? So let's say you got the phone call, they like what you have to say, and they're saying, send us something. Would you, because you mentioned, well, you can send them all the list of everything that you have and they can kind of pick and choose what's right for them. Or you maybe have a deeper conversation and pick from your toolbox what you think fits for them and submit that to them. But then kind of walk us through what happens after they say, hey, we like you, send us something, or we want more information.
Very rarely has it been me sending them anything after the first call. Because if you think about it, 20 minutes, half an hour, that's all you get. That's talking about the brand, what's important. You've probably answered, 10% of the questions you really need to have answered to send them something that's going to make you stand out in front of the other 400 people a year that send them something. Then the second thing to know is that they're going to read something that feels familiar to them. So the goal of call number 1 for me is just simply get call number 2. Because the stronger your relationship, the bigger the opportunity for a yes. In many companies, they have a whole team of sponsorship people that have to make the decision. So if you've only talked to that sponsorship director once, and they might even not be the decision maker, they might be the junior staff and it's got to go up the line. If you've only talked to them once, remember, they've got to go now sell you and your project in front of the other people on their team to decide where the company's money is going. The better they know you and the project, the better they can present your project and you to the team. That's why I always look at call number 2. And then they might say something like, I'd love for you to send us something. Or we had one the other day that said, I want to bring this to the team. And she said, can you send me something? I said, absolutely. What would you like me to send you? Rather than me guessing and sending her something that isn't valuable, wasn't what she had in her mind, and isn't going to help her present this to her team of 8, I said, what would you like me to send you? And she said, I would love a summary of the conversation and all those ideas that you had mentioned where I said you were checking all my boxes, Charmaine. I want those in bullet form. And so see what she told me? She wants that short and simple. And then I said, what else do you want to see? And she said, I want to see a really detailed overview of the project, because I need to tell now my team and explain it in a way that I can fit in our brand as I explain it. And she said, I'd love to hear more about the team that you're working with. So who are the people involved? What are their backgrounds? Who are they connected to? And I said, what format would you like that in? She said, a PDF, a document would be great. So this is really important to find out what they want, how they want it, how long. I also asked her, how long do you want this to be? Sort of the Reader's Digest version or the encyclopedia version? And she said, I just want a real quick cover sheet and the bullets that we talked about, and then that expanded document in a PDF. So that was really useful to me. It allowed me to summarize the conversations. And if there was anything new, I said to her, if there's anything I've thought of since we've connected and when I send this to you, I'll just add that as an addition on the bottom of the summary. So let them help you by telling you what they want to see.
Great advice.
And I don't mention money in that. I wanted to just say something too. There's no money. There's no give me $10,000. This will cost you $25,000. All it is a summary of our conversation, where I saw the synergies that she saw on the call, the project, and the ways that sponsors could be involved. And of course, I said, these are just a few of the many ways that partners and sponsors can be involved in this project. And I'd love to continue our conversations so that your involvement can be meaningful and check all the boxes and that are important to you and support you on your marketing goals and community involvement goals.
That's great. And I love how you walked us through that whole step of what to include and what not to include and ask those right questions. So then what happens next? You got it. Your proposal's in there. They're taking it to their team to consider it. There's no dollars in there. So then what happens?
So then what happens? So think of that like a concept paper, because really now I've talked to her 1.5 times. So that's sort of like 1.5 dates to go for, hi, we've had coffee. Now we're at dinner. And by the way, do you want to marry me and have kids with me? That's what it feels like to the sponsor when you go from that call to the proposal of money. So we want to have that in-between piece. And the in-between piece is follow-up. So as I'm sending that information, I'll be emailing her. It's going out today. So I'm emailing her saying, just to let you know, I just pressed send. It's coming to you. Please let me know if you don't receive the information. And by the way, if you have a few moments to take a quick peek before you share it with the team, I'm happy to make any changes that you need. I'm at my desk all day and happy to do this over the weekend. So I'm giving her that opportunity to say, hey, Charmaine, you missed this, or could you add this? Then the step is, she let me know her next step, which was taking it to the team. They have weekly meetings. So what I'll do is probably in about 10 days, which kind of allows that 1 week span, is I'll email her and just ask how the meeting went, or if she had an opportunity to bring this forward to the team. I'd love to hop on a call to explore what questions came up, what ideas came up. And better yet, if you want me to just pop into your team meeting by Zoom or teleconference to answer questions, I'm happy to do that. So making yourself available, not bringing up money. And then what happens is there's sort of a together planning, because the sponsor might come back and say, here, after we've looked at this, here's the parts that really resonate with us. See if I had just put a dollar value on everything and they only wanted 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Often what they do is, in their head, they had 2 pieces and your dollar value is way up here. So they just say no. And what I want is create the conversation. So typically what would happen now, if we use this real example, if they came back and said, here's the pieces we really love and want to work on with you. These ones, we don't really need to see these pieces. And then that's when I would come back with a more of a proposal that has a couple of different options with pricing. But I'm usually asking them questions like, do you have a budget for a project like this? Or, do you have an idea of what's been required to an investment to make something like this happen in the past? Or, what are the resources you're dealing with right now? So when you create some options and it's almost like a menu and they can pull off what's not important to them, then it allows you some flexibility on coming up with that pricing model almost together.
Yeah. This is a perfect example to show you that there's money out there that you didn't know existed that people want to spend on your company, your products and services to elevate your business as well as elevating theirs. And guess what? You kind of already piggyback on their brand and their platform. I mean,
Totally.
if somehow you connect with Nike, well, now you're associated with Nike and you're piggybacking, and that gives you more credibility in the marketplace when a brand says, yes, we like you, we like what you're doing, we want to support you and sponsor your events. It really takes you to another level. Plus you're accessing their social media, you're accessing all their connections as well. So I think it's just brilliant. Charmaine, thanks so much for coming today. Tell us where people can find you and your wonderful company.
Awesome. Best place to go is raiseadream.com. Raiseadream.com is our website, and we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Love to help people with their questions. So if you've got questions that come up, just post it on our Facebook page or Instagram or private message me, and we will get back to you. We love helping authors, speakers, entrepreneurs figure out how to navigate in this whole world of collaboration and sponsorship.
So I think it's a great thing. We've had authors that we've given her information to, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is fabulous. I can't wait to start this. So I highly recommend it. So if you are thinking about writing a book, remember to contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. We'll put Charmaine's link into the video so you'll be able to see that as well and into the chat. So remember to see us next time here at our podcast. We're here once a week. So remember to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller, and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click free book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.